All right, here we are. Welcome. Playoffs. We're talking playoffs. Who better than to talk playoffs with the owner who of one of the greatest fantasy football teams of all time, who yet almost blew a division, almost didn't win a division, almost didn't make the playoffs, certainly didn't get a first round bye. Paul, GM of the Albuquerque Bleak Monglers, Beelingmeyer. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. I'm also just one win away from a bye. Let's just be clear. One win away from a bye. Not the overall. I made a mistake there on the chat. But yes, it's great. And the story is still unwritten. So looking forward to right now. We're in the midst of our Thursday night game. So yeah.
I mean, we've got an all-time jersey matchup tonight. We've got the red helmet Dirty Birds against the Tampa Bay Creamsicles. All-time jersey matchup tonight. So, well, I'm wearing orange. That's not intentional there, but we've got Mr. Jacobs in the chat talking to himself. So this is going to be a fun little pod here. So, we could do this a couple ways. We could just sort of talk playoffs, or we could talk season in reviewed if you want to start and kind of give us your thoughts. You like to point out that you're one win away from a bye. The other way to put it is it took you into the last week of the season to get a division championship, despite having one of the greatest fantasy teams ever. So we want to look at this positively or negatively?
Let's take that latter approach, reflecting on the season that we had. And it's not a bad season. If I go ahead, I'll pull it up on my phone here. 9-5, like it's against some tough opponents. And what's ironic is like my losses are to the shittiest teams, by a fluke. And if there's anything that you've heard from me all year, like it's all about points against. And I think Zach just eclipsed me in points against. I think just last week. But that just tells it all. That tells the whole story. It's all you need to know. It's all about points against a massive points for top 5 or top 6 in league history, up against points against. It was not one loss away from goodbye. I would have still made playoffs.
You could have lost another probably 2 more games and still made the playoff. Looking at your schedule, obviously the first month of the year, you start out 1-3. That doesn't look too good. And then you rattle off, what's that, 8 out of the next 10. So you certainly turn the page. 5 top scoring weeks. And once you kind of got going, you only had 1 week where you weren't in the top half of scorers after the first month. And frankly, on the year, you were in the top half of scorers 12 out of 14 weeks. So it was a really strong week. All your losses were the result of, for the most part, some pretty significant poor luck. That happens. But, I think the best parts of this are, you lose to Manny, you lose to Matt, you lose to Drew, you lose to Wagner. So, there's a lot of mid to below, 3 below 500 losses is not going to help your case here. And, of course, you lose to Eric, which is no shame in dropping that game. But 3 out of 5 losses are to we would call mid or bad teams. That might be a little concerning, but you've turned the corner here, and you are, for the most part, just kind of on a tear lately. And I would say I'm worried, but frankly, I feel like I'm, got nothing to lose, so I'm not scared.
The only worry I have right now, looking back to my team and looking ahead to the playoffs, little worried about Mahomes, because my backup QB, Daniel Jones, out.
He did.
He obviously lost some of the luster since he had the beginning of the year, like flashes of MVP. Lost that, but I still liked him as my backup because still he's quality. He's putting up numbers, and he had really good matchups over playoff weeks. But then gone. So we'll see. You may see me playing with some of my fab on any QBs that hit the waiver if any of them do. Otherwise, I'm rolling with Mahomes.
Well, you're talking a big game. We're talking like somebody who thinks they're going to win this week, and maybe, certainly. But you never know. You just never know. It's interesting. you've decided to sit Bucky this week. Obviously, we got Thursday Night Football going on. He's outscoring Bijan so far, so that's really working out for you.
When
We'll
you have a
see how
deep bench,
that goes.
that stuff happens. It's not about me not making the right decision. It means my bench is deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sharon Moore was trying to cultivate a deep bench through his Instagram DMs too, but
Wait, are there Instagram DMs that have gotten out?
not so much release, but his who he follows on Instagram is a plethora of OnlyFans models and co-eds.
We always have that one friend when you're scrolling on Instagram and then you look at the profile and it's like followed by this person. So maybe that was Sharon Brown for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I think it's more like he's apparently he was trying to slide in the DMs of some OnlyFans model. Look, the guy had a problem, right? Much like your team, nobody's perfect. So, and here we got a huge Michigan hater in the chat, so I'm sure we'll get some thoughts on all of that. So yeah, I mean, look, here you are, playoffs. Again, not scared. Bring it on, bring it on. No, but in all seriousness, it's been a fun season. We've seen a lot of trades. We've got some teams that are all dangerous in their own respect. Are you worried at all? Do you have any lack of confidence other than perhaps Mahomes going to be in a low-scoring game against the Chargers? Yeah, I mean, look, let's hash out. You've got a tough road here if you're going to make it to the final. What worries you most about the playoffs?
I will make the playoffs. I will make the finals. Just say that. There's no conditionals here. Yes, big fan. Great to see you. Love to hear from my fans. My matchups aren't that good when it comes to week 17. I'm a little worried about that. I think a part of my strategy this year has not just been, keeping it like okay, obviously getting the right draft picks, stacking my team, having a solid bench, but also playing matchups. You guys can make fun of me for my defenses, but if you look at the way that my defenses have performed, I think they've done pretty well, and it's been a lot of matchups where the difference in matchup is pretty pronounced. But across the board,
well, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Go ahead.
Last week, you started a defense that scored as many points as you and I did. Okay. Last week, your defense scored 0. Did it matter? No. But you left.
Okay, that was last week. But I'm saying,
I'm just saying, you're talking about matchups. You played the Colts on the road at the Jags. The Colts don't win at the Jags. It never happens. They don't do it. It doesn't matter. Throw out the record.
Well, at this point, listen, you can only roster 3 defenses. And I know that because I was trying to roster a 4th and it wouldn't let me. So I know that the game last week didn't mean shit. So in fact, I kind of would want a little bit of chaos and not necessarily be the 3rd overall, because I would have liked to take out Tights in the semis. So that being said,
we're talking
the guys
about
that I have
matchups
now rostered are playoff DSTs.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we're just going to ignore that you started a defense in week 13 that got negative points.
Okay, I
just
fucked up with the Ravens-Bengals one. Yep. I fucked up on that one. If that's one.
Well, don't worry. You could have played the Chiefs. You could have played the Chiefs in week 13. They were even worse. They had negative 3.94 points. So
I've been holding on the Chiefs for next week. Okay, they're playing the Titans. That's the only reason I had that. I picked up the Chiefs. I dropped Pittsburgh, which I kind of regret, but it's okay.
I wouldn't have dropped Pittsburgh. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand the allure of playing matchups. But I think you get a little cute with it, right? I think as the preeminent member of the chat historically this year, every game matters. That's the winner's mentality. You can't be looking ahead. You're looking ahead. You're looking past me. So all I'm gonna say is be careful. Just be careful. I don't have any fantasies here. I'm just trying to grind out a win, but
well, if you don't have any fantasies here, Lowell, let me just show you a quick photo, because it's a shame that you don't have any fantasies, because if you did have one, these people will take care of it for you.
And who are these people?
I don't know, but their company's name is What's Your Fantasy?
You know what? That's a great name.
Yeah.
Good for them. Wow. Well, we'll have to keep them in mind for the kind of people you want for a private party, perhaps.
Can we do dial? Is this like Howard Stern? Can we dial him in? Is this how this works here?
We're not going to dial them in, but I mean, you can do whatever you want in your free time. You can have a freak off. Have a Diddy party. I'm not going to stop you. To be clear. So, I take no legal responsibility for your actions, but you can do what you want. So, anyway.
You're my lawyer, though. I gave you that $1.
Yeah, you can give me $1 all you want, but I know nothing of what you intend to do. That's what
I want my lawyer to say. Very good, very good.
So no, but looking ahead, I mean, look, you're gonna have, if you're gonna win it all, you're gonna have a tough path, right? You're gonna have to carve your way through me, through that may not be that tough, but through Jacobs and certainly through Tights. I would expect that if you're gonna win it all, you're gonna have to go through Tights. Again, he beat you already once this year. He's 12-2. He's got a very strong team.
Yeah, but also one thing that I thought about is, and this was intentional too, Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Rashee Rice is going to do that well. I don't think that Tights has a deep bench, but that's my one kind of insurance policy of sorts, is like the game will stay close if that's the huge pendulum that's going to swing one way or the other. So that's just something else to be thinking about when it comes to our matchup, how we match up. And we didn't have the luxury of seeing that play out when we played each other because it was the Chiefs bye week.
Well, we're certainly going to get a very different.
Yes, we are.
Very different
kind of look. May not be playing for shit. So.
Well, that's the other thing here. I mean, look, in that week, you didn't have Mahomes or the Chiefs defense. He didn't have Joe Flacco, CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, Brandon Aubrey. And Brandon Aubrey, now that's a weapon. So, I think that kind of works both ways in that matchup. And certainly we can throw it up there on the screen, let you take a peek at it.
Sean Tucker, touchdown.
Sean Tucker. Yep, exactly who you started in your matchup. That's for sure. Sean Tucker. Solid. But look at this matchup. I mean, obviously rosters change. There's no more Walker, no more Dobbins for Tights, but certainly Jahmyr Gibbs could go off. Drake London, Waddle, Brock Bowers. He's got, like I said, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Aubrey. Certainly a lot of firepower on that team as well. I get your point about depth, but you know what? You can only start so many guys. Depth can be overrated.
It's true.
I'm a big fan of depth, but it can be overrated. So just be careful what you wish for there. We'll see. Have you given any thought, though? We shouldn't just only focus on your matchup. Somebody might be drunk on their way home from a work party. They might want to hear about their team. Any thoughts at all about the other matchup in the playoffs, or maybe the consolation bracket? Any thoughts at all? We'll switch over in the other side of the bracket.
That other one.
Yeah, Bodson and LaMagna.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I think that we have the right teams in the playoffs. And I'll give you shit, Lowell, but I am worried a little bit about your team because you have guys that could pop. Like Lamar this week could pop. So same with these guys. Stafford has obviously been proven himself to be one of the top QBs. 2 great targets for him. Jackson Dart, I'm hearing a lot. I'm listening to a lot of fantasy radio on XM radio. Jackson Dart is maybe Jackson Dart gets a start this week and goes off. Jacobs, Achane, I mean, those guys are great. And then I love my guys, Flowers and Olave. I want to see them do well, so not too well that they end up, hurting me potentially in a matchup down the road. But these are 2 great teams. They're going to give Eric a run for his money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Certainly just looking at these teams, right? We'll go down the line with LaMagna. He's got an MVP caliber quarterback the way this year's going. James Cooks is getting going. The Bills are playing better. Woody Marks has picked it up a little bit. Devontae Adams has having a career resurrection this year. And Trey McBride, I think this team, might, it doesn't really have we'll see. Maybe Mike Evans starts to come good. Obviously, Matt not playing either Egbuka or Mike Evans this week.
You don't start Mike. You don't start either of those guys this week, in my opinion.
Egbuka would be interesting. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson, I get the matchup there. I would just be a little concerned, right? On the other side, though, but that is a team. That is a team that's certainly strong enough in any given week. And on the other side, Bodson, between now Achane, Josh Jacobs, both banged up. That might come back to bite him if one of them can't go this week. And certainly, I'm not sure I expect a big Zay Flowers game. I think Bodson kind of is I just don't know that team has the same ceiling, right?
Yep.
Especially at receiver. So we'll see. But you just never know. It's definitely going to be, I think, a competitive matchup. Should be close. And the winner is certainly good enough to give Tights the right kind of game because, it's fantasy football. Anything can happen. But I think it's very easy to just assume it'll be Tights in the final.
You and a great waiver pickup by LaMagna. Credit for Jalen Wright.
Yeah, picked up Jalen Wright, picked up Emmanuel Wilson. He's picked up both backup running backs that Bodson might want. So, I think that's important. And look, if you win, you've got the great, real John Jacobs waiting for you. Just to be clear, he's the great, real John Jacobs. Not one of the great, the great. Remember, he's going for trying to get the 3 championships in a row. We might as well start calling him the Chiefs. You should just give him all your Chiefs players, right? Let's just get there, right? Let's do that. But, you're right. The Chiefs themselves may have nothing to play for in a week or two, and that may certainly hinder some of these teams. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. It'd be nice to see some new blood in the playoffs. But, yeah, it's going to be fun. How's that burger? I see you chomping away.
It's good. It's a Five Guys. It's only a little hamburger. It's not a cheeseburger with 2 patties. Only a single patty hamburger, no cheese, no bacon. I'm trying to watch what I eat.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good that you went with the single. It's still Five Guys, so you couldn't make a burger yourself. This
is the best burger there is.
That would be blasphemy.
It's cold up here in DC to be out grilling.
That's a good point. It's cold down here too, but we brave the elements to cook.
Just a guy in the tank top.
I mean, I'm inside my house. It's only. Let's see what the weather is outside. It is a chilly, frigid 63 degrees right now. So I would be just fine in my sweatpants and tank top on my patio, grilling it up. So another day perhaps. So, okay. Where do you want to take us though? We could talk consolation bracket. There's some interesting teams in there. Can the real Joe Richmond show up and win the first round pick, or how does that play out? I think we've got some interesting squads, some pretty shitty teams, but it should be a fun one. In terms of you were complaining about points against. Yes, Zach ended up with quite frankly, 40 more points were scored against him this year than against you. So, you can can it on the difficult schedule. But yeah, where do you want to take us?
I would say sir, I would just say Zach's team overall. I don't want to do the numbers. I don't want to crunch the numbers. I don't want to ask anyone to crunch the numbers. A lot of hypotheticals to figure into once you think about trades. But, I think Zach probably would have made the playoffs had he not sold. I mean, he would have also necessitated him making some early buys as well. So that
let me read you Zach's week 1 lineup. Okay. Dak Prescott, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, JSN, Drake London, Mike Evans, George Kittle. Okay. Broncos defense. On the bench, Rachaad White, Blake Corum, Jared Goff. I mean, that is a playoff team. This is why you cannot punt a month in, because it's just, I get it after 4 weeks, you're off to a bad start, but you can't punt that soon, right? I mean, you just never know. He'd be in the playoffs. We'd be looking at his team going, man, that's a strong team.
And he would have made moves. He would have made moves too to make it stronger.
And he probably, maybe he finishes 7-7, 8-5 after a poor start, but he gets in And just like you said about my team, look, you can have strong players and have that potential to go off on any particular day. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that he, at the time I thought he sold too early, and he definitely did, given what he had week 1. But I get it. It's tough. He's got a lot of picks for next year, and next year is
I
really
think he has one of the best hauls ever. I really value what he did.
it's probably the
What
best
I
haul
had.
ever. It's
What?
probably the most assets ever
Oh,
in
yeah,
terms of
exactly.
quality. Yeah.
So then you can't really fault him for selling, whatever. Like, he made a decision, he did it well, and he's going to have some fun. Like me last year, you played the season purely to position yourself ready for next year, but then you get in the playoff bracket, in the loser bracket, and have some fun, and you may win it. And I'm excited to see where he takes his team.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see what he does, especially without draft pick trading. What does that look like? He's going to have so many assets. He's going to have so many quality players. He should be able to, hopefully it works out. It should be fun to watch. He's got 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fours, 5, 2 sevens. I mean, it's quite a lot. So I'm certainly curious to see how it plays out. But yeah, he's definitely got quite a haul there, and he's got a. I guess we'll be able to look back at the end of next year and go, wow, did these teams who punted on this year to make these trades, did it pay off? I think that's the big question. But I don't know. I mean, for me, I got off to a hot start, so I said I'm going to go all in. I'm going to compete, even though I didn't, don't have the strongest team. I sometimes you got to pivot, be willing to go for it, have a little fun in the process.
You've been having a lot of fun. You've been maybe a part of your strategy is trying to let us not know whether you're a buyer or a seller.
Well, I think week to week
that morally ambiguous area.
Yeah, well, I think also week to week you can, things can radically change, right? 1 week you win, you feel good. The next week you lose, you reevaluate. I think that's perfectly reasonable to do that, especially when you're sort of a fringe type of team. And that's what I did. And, you have to make the deals that you're comfortable with. And I like my team. I think it's a lot better than it was week 1, right? But, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It plays out. I mean, look, my entire lineup from week 1 is gone. Trade, cut, whatever. My entire lineup. I mean, Jaden Daniels traded, DeAndre Swift traded, Ollie Gordon cut, Sutton traded, Garrett Wilson traded, Egbuka traded, Ertz cut, Loop cut, Packers probably cut at some point. So you basically, I'm looking at my team. The only guys that are still on my team from week 1 are Basil Tootin and Tyler Algier.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of 16. That's probably not a good hit rate, but you know what? It's been a fun ride. We'll see what happens. I'm certainly excited for it. And
it's like
look,
the
right
old
now
saying with the boat, and you like
Mhm.
replace one piece of the boat every year, and then like, do you really have the same boat? Does Lowell really even have the same team?
No. Again, I'm playing chess. You're playing checkers. So it's one way to look at that, right? So anyway, let's wrap this up here in short order. I'm gonna go sit with a small child who won't go to bed. So anyway, your thoughts. Obviously, you're going to predict yourself to win it all. My preseason prediction was for you to win it all. I'm going to stand by that. I think you've got the most talent. However,
the betting favorite.
Yeah, you're probably the betting favorite. I don't know that you're probably at like minus 120. I wouldn't give you much higher odds than that.
So the betting favorite.
Yeah, I'd say Tate's is probably like minus 110, and then the field is good like plus 150. I think you're going to get too cute with it though. My concern for you is you get too cute and that's it. So
I mean, you're cute. You ask my fiance.
Very cute.
I would say ask 9, 10 of the other owners in this league. When you think of Paul Wheeling, do you think of? You're like, oh, too cute. He's a little cutie. Too cute.
Sure, we'll go with that. We'll end it there.
Yeah, too cute.
Well, I would say best of luck, but of course I want to win this week. Enjoy those fries. Stuff your face. I'm glad things are going well. We'll see what happens this week, and it's going to be fun. And if you win, maybe you'll get to come back next week and gloat. But for now, everybody's going to keep taking shots at you until you prove them wrong.
I love it. Hey, I have to earn this win. I got to beat defending champion. I got to defeat other defending champion, and then Eric. We'll see.
Yeah, look, if you can beat the defending champ, the two-time two-time championship, participant with one title, and then the best team in the league. Yeah, you've earned it for sure. So we'll see if you can do that. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a tall task, and
I'm ready for it.
Cute. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens out on the field. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay warm.
Will do.